What's good, everybody? Is not coming back at you on a video. So for this video, I wanted to talk about, you know, financial states, right? And to have people understand that when you're on your journey towards financial freedom, you want to make sure you always prioritize financial freedom over financial security. Now, let me explain the difference between the two, right? Starting with financial security. Financial security, this is what the average person prefers, right? Security, the average person wants to feel comfortable, right? And oftentimes, financial security is associated with having a job, right? People believe that having a job, is the traditional safe route because, as long as you show up and you do what you got to do, right, you can expect the paycheck at the end of the week or at the end of the 2 weeks, right? That is the most preferred route for the average person. Now, financial freedom, that's essentially you being financially abundant, financially well off, where you're earning so much to the point where you have absolute freedom in your life. You can dictate the terms of your life, right? You can, essentially, as far as like deciding on where you want to live, you can choose a neighborhood and then pick your preferred home in that neighborhood, right? Because you're not worried about the price tag, right? This is you being able to drive whatever vehicle you want because you're not worried about how much it costs, right? This is you being able to eat wherever it is that you want to eat, right? At any restaurant, whenever you want. This is you deciding where you want to travel, for however long you want to travel, how often you want to travel, where you want to stay, right? That's you being able to, if you want to, treat yourself to, nice clothes or have nice things, right? Most people will be perfectly content with having financial security because they believe that, as long as they're employed somewhere and that they're getting paid, that it's safe because their job is safe. But it's never actually security. It's never actually safe, right? Because I've seen with my own two eyes during the pandemic how it affected so many different corporations all across the world. And I've seen people laid off without notice, or in other instances where there may not have been a global pandemic, right? It'll just be that a certain company might have budget cuts, and then the budget cuts will lead to other people getting terminated, right? That can happen. But people don't see it that way because people see it as, okay, as long as I show up and do what I have to do, then I'll be compensated for it. This is a safe route, and everything else is deemed risky. You need to understand that if at any moment you can be let go, then it's not actual security, right? Because then the fate of your life is always going to be in the hands of someone else, right? Those who prioritize financial freedom are the ones who prioritize building something, whether it's a business, whether it's, whatever it is. They work towards building something that can eventually provide them with an income so that they're able to make an income without even having to be there, or without having to work towards, without having to show up and actually physically be there, right? There's some people who strive to chase, the role of being a vice president at a company. And of course, if you're a vice president, right, I like to think you're probably doing very well for yourself. But if, let's just say, being a vice president at a company, you're making $200,000 a year, right? But let's just say with that $200,000 a year, you're getting paid salary. You have to commit a lot of time showing up to the office and being present at work and doing all these things. Rather than being the vice president of a company making $200,000, what if you were able to build systems or have systems in place that can allow you to earn that same amount of money, except you don't need to put anywhere near the amount of time or the effort that it takes to earn that $200,000, right? Say you have the ability to earn that $200,000 remotely, or you do whatever work it is that you do, right? In whatever business. And yet that 200,000 comes in from another stream, or you get what I'm trying to say. Like, not every situation is made equal, because if you can make 200,000 but you're a salaried employee working 8 to 10 hour days, or you can make that 200,000 working remotely for 1 to 2 hours a day, right? Like, this person here, the remote worker, is richer because they now have their time back. They've purchased their time back. So now you have more time to spend with families, with loved ones. You can travel more often, right? And you're living life free on your own terms. What I'm saying is, you want to prioritize financial freedom over security, because financial freedom allows you to live the life the way you want, right? That you have freedom, because that's who we are as people. We were born with, is innate in us, that we were born with freedom as one of our bases, or one of our foundations. That's why we have the freedom to think, we have the freedom to create, we have the freedom to do all these things. And yet most people are willing and content with sacrificing their freedom for their entire lives for this false sense of security, only for it to not actually be security, right? And that's something that I want you to truly think about. I'm not saying that, like, you need to drop everything and completely let go of whatever opportunity and just start, working towards financial freedom immediately. Like, this can be a slow, gradual process, but I'm doing this video to maybe help change your thinking, to maybe help you think of doing things a different way, right? Because I want everybody to win. I want each and every one of us to live life free. I don't want us to feel as though we're tied down, that we have to show up because it's obligated for us to do, or, I want us to be able to get to the point where we're living life on our own terms, that we're doing the things that we want to do, and we're having fun, and we're providing value. This is the other thing too. Oftentimes people chase the financial security, which can be just the paychecks at their job, because they still have the consumer mindset, and they have not transitioned into becoming a producer, right? If you look at the company that you might work for, or all the large companies, or all the companies that exist, companies exist because they're producing a product, they're producing a service, they're producing something, right? Coca-Cola, they sell soda and chips and all these things, right? Tesla, they sell cars, right? Apple, they sell electronics, right? Like, all these companies, they sell a product. That's why all the successful people, like the financially successful people, is because they have something that they offer to other people, right? They have something of value that they can sell to someone. And yet most people just remain as consumers. They don't ever decide to become a producer of something, right? Me doing these videos, this is me producing a product. This is me producing value to you, because I want to provide you with value. I want this to be something where you watch the video and you walk away with feeling as though you learned something, or feeling as though, like, you picked up on something, that you've came across something beneficial, right? That's what I'm doing. And when you prioritize financial freedom, you're prioritizing setting up businesses, or creating products of value that you can provide to other people, right? And that is what's going to, if you work towards building that, then that is what will get you closer to living more of a dream life, because then you'll be financially free. You'll work towards financial freedom so you can do things on your own time, right? There's some people who say that they're not chasing financial freedom, that they just want to make a little bit more than they need, right? Like, that they want to make just more than enough. And that's okay, but there might be times where you want to travel somewhere nice, or you want to eat somewhere nice, or take people, your family, somewhere nice to do something fun. And I'm sure if you had the opportunity to be in a position where you didn't have to worry about the finances, rather than having to worry about the finances, you would choose not to worry about the finances, right? If you could choose between driving a regular car and your dream car without being worried about the finances for either vehicle, you would want to choose your dream car, right? Like if you can choose between going on vacation, having a regular experience versus having an extraordinary experience without being worried about the finances, you would want to choose the extraordinary experience, right? So it's that. I'm not saying, you know, that it's the goal is to become a multi-billionaire and everything's out of reach. No, like I'm just saying, like, don't fall for the trap of security, security, security. This because people will say it nonstop. They'll continue preaching. It's all, like, get a job. It's secure. It's safe. But it that's okay for the time being. That's okay that to have an occupation while you work to build yourself up, right? To build businesses and systems in place that can potentially, you know, help you improve your finances or earn money in the future, right? More passively, right? Like that is the goal. And then eventually when things are situated, then you can leave your occupation and focus on these businesses and these systems full time. But oftentimes people, they will be so comfortable and content with security that it'll have them truly believe that their position and their occupation is entirely safe and nothing is ever going to happen, when you literally have someone or like a company or the people in charge of your company, they're literally in charge of your financial fate and your financial future. You're putting your life in the hands of other people when you need to begin working towards having your life be in your own hands. Does that make sense? Right? When you're building your own businesses and your systems in place, you are in charge of that, right? You are creating these products and you are now going from being a consumer, which you're just spending money, to now producing, you're creating something of value to someone else. So then that can be something that you can sell or offer to other people to bring in additional income, right? And then eventually when you have enough systems in place or those systems get big enough, then that's when you can eventually obtain financial freedom, because that is actually the goal. Because then when you're in this position, there's not a single person or people that is in charge of your future, your financial fate, right? At that point, you are in control of that. And that's the main idea that I'm getting at. You want to prioritize financial freedom over security. Oftentimes, people think security is the best thing. I'm comfortable here, everything's good. But at the snap of a finger, something can change and you can go right back to zero from whatever number you're at, right? And of course, I would not want that for you. I would want you to be doing well, to be thriving, to have multiple sources of income, so that if one of the sources, something happens to one of those streams of income, right, then that's okay, because you have several other streams of income that you'll be able to stay afloat and do perfectly fine. And I want you to be able to have an income so great that you're able to buy your time back. So you can have fun and live life and work whenever you feel like working, and have other people in place to like do the things that need to get done while you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. So that is always a goal. That's why you always want to prioritize that, financial freedom over security. Once again, nothing wrong with having an occupation for the time being, but oftentimes people get too comfortable there and they stay there just working there until the end of time, rather than working there temporarily while they build on the side until their creation has gotten so big that it'll take care of them. And then oftentimes the businesses or systems that you've created that are in place, you can now pass this down to your family, to your next generation, right? Oftentimes, families that come from humble beginnings, oftentimes when, we have the next generation of kids, right, is almost like starting from scratch again, because there's nothing that the previous generation has owned or created to pass down to the next generation. So it's always starting from scratch. When you're seeing other families, other groups of people that, because they own things, because they've built systems in place, it's easy for them to just pass it along to the next generation to keep success going, right? And so this video is for that, to help you open your eyes, to help you realize that the goal is to prioritize financial freedom, because you want to live life free. You want to be able to do things whenever you want, right? And you want to ensure that your family and the people close to you also share that same freedom, because having, money, finances, right? Like, you can do more with that. You can help influence more people. You can help change people's lives for the better, right? And it's just much easier to do that when you have access to capital than when you don't, right? So financial freedom is the goal, so then you can begin living life free on your own terms and begin doing all the things that you've always wanted to do without having to worry about finances. And that is a beautiful feeling. And I know that in due time we'll all get there, and things will be taken care of from then on out. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 100 subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.